Hey, welcome back everybody to That House on the Hill. Today it is hardwood flooring day. We got some beautiful red and white oak flooring. It's 3¼ inch wide and some really great wood to work with. Now, we got this for a really great deal for the whole house, about 2,200 square feet. We got for $2,000. We saw it as an ad listed on Facebook Marketplace, and the only caveat was, yes, it's all new, it's all great. It's on the 3rd story of a barn, and the stair renovation of the barn was never finished, so we don't want to move it. So if you guys want to come get it and move it all, you can. So that's how we got this flooring. When then they say it was a 3rd story of a barn, it was a very, very big barn. And myself and my father-in-law drove up to New Hampshire, about 3 hours, took a truck, and slowly walked down these unfinished stringers of this barn to get this wood. So that's how we got it. So we're going to take advantage of it and use as much as we can. So this project, though, like everything on this house on the hill, or that house on the hill, I should say, is it's an old home. And nothing in this house is square or plumb, which makes easy jobs like putting down flooring a lot harder. The problem with this room, even though it's an addition off of the original house, you have 3 square walls and 1 that's not. So, when I measured the layout for this flooring, this wall back here, compared to the parallel wall over there, is 6 inches longer than that wall. So, trying to figure out how to put hardwood flooring down, running this way, you know, the lengthwise of the room, because it's a giant rectangle, it's a 26.5-foot run of the house, was very challenging. Because with a wall that's 6 inches longer, if you start from the slider and you walk this way, or you work this way, by the time you get to this wall, everything's going to be butted up nice, the way it's supposed to, you know, on this wall, but you're going to have that 6-inch gap open up on this wall. Now, I could cut some extra pieces and put them in. The problem is the transitions you're going to see come down to a point. It's going to look like crap, not going to look good. So I came up with a layout that I call a 2x2 layout. The only way for us to hide that 6-inch difference in this wall was either build this wall out further, another 6 inches, to make up the difference in the length of that wall. That, though, would mess up this door frame that's going to be going in. So you'd have an additional 6 inches, so make that, the casing there would have to be almost 12 inches wide with a normal 5.5-inch casing. That would not work. So what we decided, I should say I decided, I showed it to my wife and she okayed it, was I can hide that 6-inch difference with long runs going this way. Your eyes are not going to be drawn to that. Unfortunately, we didn't want to have all of the wood running this way because it's going to make the room look like an accordion. It also makes the room look smaller than it actually is. You know, and this is a good sized room. This room, you know, essentially is 26 feet, excuse me, 26 feet by 15.5 feet on that side and 16 feet on this side. It's a nice room for a family room. It's got to be a good room with lots of beautiful light that we get to spend a lot of our family time in. So I want to make this really good and a nice appeal. When people walk in, they go, wow, this is unique. This is a nice, you know, the whole house is craftsman style. I'm not going to cheap out on the design or be lazy with the design on where you walk into the house. So the 2x2 design is essentially going to be 2 rows of flooring running on each side, then run 2 rows across. Another 2 rows coming down, 2 rows. What happens is you have this really interlocking pattern. I guess you could call it stair stepping, but it's really not because you have 2 rows locking everything in. Also, the way I'm doing it is it's going to be all tongues on 3 sides. 1, 2, 3 tongues versus the traditional tongue, tongue, groove, groove. Which creates a situation for me where, yes, I have to cut a lot of actual wood and route it out and that type of thing. Not a big deal. Once you know how to do it, it's super easy. It gives you a lot of flexibility with hardwood flooring. So that's how we're going to do it. Some simple tips, too, is also, if you're going to do this type of flooring, have a sacrificial board. Mark the board, too. Because even though I have a floor hammer, you know, and a mallet to put flooring in, it's angled and you tap it. Sometimes you mess up the finish on the edges. You know, you put it all in, it looks great, it's into the tongue and groove, you nail them in, and now you're tapping on this end, you know, the next piece in, boom, and you actually mess up the finish at the seams. You know, nobody's gonna notice that, but you're gonna notice that if you're putting the floor in. So what I do is a sacrificial board. If I had to tap anything in, say it's in the groove and I gotta move it that way, get the sacrificial board, I tap in with the hammer here. So you can see, I don't know, this is where it's tapped, but you guys might be able to see the actual finish is a little, you know, grindy looking or ground down looking. That's from the floor hammer, the mallet. Sacrificial board works great. You know, just carry it in your pocket and go like that. We're also going to be using 2-inch cleat nails, which holds things in a lot tighter. Staples are a lot faster, but the cleat nails just hold things a lot stiffer. And it's what I prefer to use on doing this. So also prevents squeaks because it's held down to the ground a lot easier. That's what we're working on, that house on the hill today, and don't know if it'll be done today. Have some other things that I have to do, but just gonna go slow with this pattern, and the biggest thing is making sure I keep the pattern. If I get tired on this, I'm gonna actually be like, you know, I'm feeling tired, I'm not gonna continue, because if I mess up one pattern on this side, I don't replicate it on that side, I gotta take up all the boards on every part, so not fun. But that's what we're doing today on that house on the hill. Sacrificial board. And my hammer. Too wonky. Alrighty, let's see how this fits now. I didn't like the other board. It was a little too close to that grain and that grain. I like how this is running straight. It doesn't create like a weird appearance. Let's see how I got the fit going here. Cut a little bit longer on purpose, just to see if I get a trim. Yeah. Gotta trim a 16th off, so it's close. It's always better to be a little bit over than under. I can always take off a board versus add some. nail it down. Piece. Reddish piece. And dark. Piece towards the end. Good to go. Let's see. Barely fits. Eighth of an inch. so here we go with another piece of hardwood that comes out of the patch that's defective, or defective as they deem it, but completely usable. This is a beautiful piece of wood. I call these tiger stripes. It's almost like a reddish but yellow hue with a nice pattern that really adds character to the floor when you use it. With these packs, unfortunately, it seems like these cuts are more the ones that are defective, but this is completely usable. Now, here on the corner down there, what I need is because the pattern, the 2x2 pattern that we're doing, I need a piece that has a groove on both sides. Now, this has no groove or a tongue on the proximal and distal sides, which most of the time you couldn't even use it, you have to get rid of it. But in my situation, I'm going to use the router to fix it and use it. It's a beautiful piece of wood and really, really nice. It's going to add some character to that corner, which sounds weird, but when you're building it and you're doing the work, hey, it's your house. So, of all the tools, it's going to sound funny, that I use or that I have, whether it be my chainsaws, my circular saw, miter saws, jackhammers, rotary hammers, that type of thing, the one tool that always makes me feel a little nervous is the router. It's just something for me. I see the high RPMs, it's a hand router, and if that bit bites and I'm off a little bit and it kicks, it could be really messy, and dangerous, but that's really my opinion. I know a couple other people that are scared of routers as well, and yeah, so if you're using them, use some safety precautions and that type of thing. But we're going to bring this to the jaw horse. I'm going to put it in, I'm going to use the router on it, and just hopefully it comes out really well and it fits right in that corner and looks really good. Alrighty, so I'm done for the day right now, but I wanted to show everybody the 2x2 pattern that's coming out of the corner of the room. So this helps make up for that 6-inch difference I was talking about on the walls that run this way. So we're going 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. And what that'll do is create a really kind of unique craftsman style pattern across the room where it'll meet in the center, or allow me to do any type of funky thing, but it also helps have long running boards on the short walls to create this feel or a visual appearance where the walls are not, your eyes are not drawn to the wall. So come over here, again, this is the wall that's 6 inches longer. Excuse the hole there, I had to work on some of the sheetrock. But this, visually, you will not be able to tell that this wall is 6 inches longer than that wall over there. Alrighty, so we're on day 3 of the hardwood floor install. We've made a lot of good progress and really made sure that this pattern that we put in, I don't know if you guys can see it, it's kind of a staggered pattern. It's on both sides. That creates a nice equal diagonal pattern across the room to the center of this wall. If you remember from earlier in the video, this wall behind me is 6 inches shorter than this wall. So not square framing of this room. So it's what we dealt with. I wasn't going to rip down the whole house, but it's I didn't build it, so it wasn't square. However, we're doing the floor. In this design, we checked the measurements. So my uncle had helped me a lot on this. We're working together. when he could, and me banging it out after work when I can. We are ready for this. 1/8 inch out of square. Not a big deal at all from side to side. So we kept this room very, very square, or the pattern of the floor very square, considering that the wall over there behind the camera is 6 inches out of square. So we were able to compensate and hide that defect over there and create a pattern for this hardwood floor that's going to work and make everything look nice and even. So it's visually appealing. You can't really see because I got a lot of pieces of wood all over the floor. I brought a lot of stuff up here to let it acclimate to the heat and moisture in the room so that the boards don't shrink and expand after install. But that's it. I'm gonna be working on that tonight, and hopefully I can get it done. And we'll see where I get from there. Cool. Welcome back, everybody. The hardwood floor is done. I don't know if you can see it behind me. We've got this nice, beautiful pattern. Everything is 2x2. It's kind of a, as my wife said, it looks like a 2x2 herringbone design. I don't know if that's exactly what it is because you've never really seen it before. I just kind of made it up as I went. But nice design. Again, it was to make up the difference that this wall is 6 inches shorter than this wall. So again, we didn't frame any of these exterior walls. It's kind of what we got when it came with it. When we bought the house, so we have to, what's the saying? The carpenter's job is to hide the imperfections of the houses and things they work on. So you can't even tell the difference. What I'm working on today is I have to fix a little bit of this electrical over here, but put the sheetrock back up and fix the hole. But then this room is ready to go for the crown molding and the baseboards. So this room is about, I'd say 95% done. We have some doors that we're gonna put in that space right there. And then this room is just do a final coat of paint and we're good to go. But I'm gonna flip the camera around and give you guys a good view, I should say, of the pattern on the floor. So here we go. Alrighty, here we go. Here's the floor. When you walk into the house, you can see the pattern coming from the center, coming from the outsides to the center equally. Nice alternating patterns of colors. Everything was, as we got smaller and smaller in, everything had to be custom cut every parallel and perpendicular row. So a lot of work, a lot of routering, but it looks beautiful now. Super stiff, nice strong floor. The extra layers of plywood I put down for the subfloor really makes this room nice and sturdy. When you used to walk into this room when we first bought the house, you would walk, if you walked anywhere on the left or right side of the center beam in the basement, you would actually feel like a sponginess, almost like a little mini trampoline. It was very odd feeling. So we have a weight-bearing beam that came with the house here, but what we did in the basement, I put a weight-bearing beam here, a structural beam there, and a structural beam there, with posts and proper footings. And now this room is nice and stiff. But that's it for the floor. And now it's time to do a little bit of drywall work and patching that patch over there. And then we're ready to do baseboard, molding, trim work, and some crown molding up and around the room. I'll put the fan ends into these spots later. Well, that's done once the paint is all done. I don't want to collect all the dust on the fans. That's it.